The galaxy's top predators weren't prepared for humans. Captain Lisa Morgan stood on the bridge of the USS Intrepid. Her blue uniform was crisp and neat. She looked at the large screen in front of her. It showed a massive alien ship. The alien vessel was 3 times bigger than her own ship. "Any new data on the alien ship, Officer Davis?" she asked. John Davis tapped on his screen quickly. "Yes, Captain. The ship appears to be made of some kind of metal we've never seen before. Its power readings are off the charts." Lisa nodded and walked closer to the main viewing screen. This was a historic moment. Humans had traveled through space for decades, but this was the first time they had found proof of intelligent alien life. "Open a communication channel," she ordered. "Let's follow first contact protocols." Communications Officer Eric Patel pressed several buttons on his console. "Channel open, Captain. Broadcasting our greeting message on all frequencies." The greeting message was simple. It contained basic math, images of humans, and friendly words. Scientists had worked for years to create a message that any intelligent species could understand. The bridge crew waited. The silence felt heavy. No one had trained enough for this moment. They were the first humans to ever talk to aliens. "Anything?" Lisa asked after 5 minutes. "No response, Captain," Eric replied. "But they must have received our message by now." Science. Officer Mia Rodriguez looked up from her station with worry on her face. "Captain, I'm detecting strange energy readings from the alien vessel. They're powering up something." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. "What kind of energy readings?" "Unknown, but the power levels are massive," Mia said. "It could be weapons." "Raise shields," Lisa ordered immediately. "Just to be safe." Security Chief Ben Campbell pressed a button. "Shields up, Captain." Lisa grabbed the communication system. "Attention, alien vessel. We come in peace. We are on a mission of exploration. We mean no harm." The alien ship didn't respond with words. Instead, a bright beam of energy shot out from its front section. It hit the Intrepid with tremendous force. The entire ship shook. "We're hit," Ben shouted. "Shields down to 40%. Lisa grabbed her chair as the ship shook again. "Return. Fire," she ordered. "But Captain, first contact protocols say..." Eric started. "They fired first, Officer Patel." Lisa cut him off. "Return fire now." The Intrepid's weapons were advanced by Earth standards, but they seemed to barely damage the alien ship. The aliens fired again. This time the beam hit one of the ship's engines. "Engine 2 is down." The engineer's voice came through the speakers. "We've got fires on decks 3 through 5. Lisa made a quick decision. "Prepare for emergency jump. Get us out of here." "But Captain, if we jump without proper calculation," John warned. "It's better than being destroyed," Lisa said firmly. "Execute emergency jump now." The stars on the screen blurred as the ship entered faster than light speed. The damaged engine made the jump rough. 3 crew members who weren't strapped in were thrown across the bridge. When the ship finally stopped, they were far from the alien vessel. But they had paid a price. The damage reports came in quickly. 3 crew members dead, many more injured, 1 engine destroyed. Life support systems. Working at half capacity. Lisa sat in her captain's chair, hands shaking slightly. "Send a message to Earth, tell them..." She paused. "Tell them first contact was not peaceful. We have evidence that hostile alien life exists. Send all our sensor data from the encounter." The journey back to Earth was long and difficult. The damaged ship limped through space at reduced speed. When they finally reached Earth orbit, military vessels escorted them in. The world had been waiting anxiously since receiving their message. On Earth, the Global Defense Council gathered in an emergency session. Military leaders, scientists, and government officials filled the large conference room. Captain Lisa Morgan stood at the front, giving her report. "The alien vessel fired without provocation," she explained. "We had no chance to establish meaningful communication." Admiral Peter Wright, head of Earth's Space Fleet, leaned forward. "Could it have been a misunderstanding? Perhaps they interpreted our approach as hostile?" Lisa shook her head. "We followed all first contact protocols. We kept our weapon systems powered down. We broadcast basic greeting messages. They simply attacked." Dr. Alan Weiss, the top xenobiologist on Earth, stood up next. He had analyzed the data from the Intrepid. Based on the ship's design and attack patterns, we believe we've encountered a species called the Krajan, he said, showing images on the large screen. Our probes have picked up transmissions from other parts of the galaxy. We've been working to translate them. It seems the Krajan are known as apex predators. The room grew quiet. Apex predators? Asked one official. Yes, Dr. Weiss continued. According to the fragments we've translated, they view all other species as either prey or competition. They don't establish diplomatic relations. They conquer or eliminate. Admiral Wright stood up. Then we need to prepare for war. If these Krajans see us as prey, we need to show them that humans aren't easy targets. Secretary of Defense Helen Martinez nodded. I'll speak with the President. We need to increase military production immediately. Captain Morgan's encounter may have just been the beginning. Lisa looked around the room. These people were talking about war with an alien species. Just 1 week ago, humans didn't even know aliens existed for sure. Now they were facing a threat from the stars. Dr. Weiss, Lisa asked, do we know anything about their weaknesses? Anything we can use against them if they come back? The scientist adjusted his glasses. Not much yet. But from the sensor data your ship collected, they seem to rely heavily on direct confrontation. Their tactics were straightforward, overwhelmed with superior firepower. There was little strategy involved. That's something, Admiral Wright said. Humans have always been good at adapting and outsmarting stronger opponents. If they think we're just prey, they might not be prepared for how humans fight when backed into a corner. The meeting continued for hours. Plans were made. Earth's militaries began to prepare. Space defenses were strengthened. The news spread around the world. Humanity was not alone in the universe, and their cosmic neighbors were not friendly. On the final day of the emergency session, Admiral Wright approached Lisa. Captain Morgan, we're organizing a new defense fleet, Earth's best ships and crews. We want you to lead one of the battle groups. Lisa looked surprised. Me, sir? After I lost a ship? You didn't lose it, Captain. You brought it home damaged but with valuable information, he replied. And more importantly, you made the right call out there. We need leaders who can make those tough decisions. Lisa straightened her back and nodded. I'll do my best, Admiral. I know you will, he said, then added more quietly. Humanity's survival may depend on all of us doing our best now. As Lisa left the building, she looked up at the night sky. The stars seemed different now, not just beautiful distant lights, but possible sources of danger. The galaxy's top predators were out there, but they weren't prepared for humans, and humans would be ready next time. The galaxy's top predators weren't prepared for humans. 6 months passed since the first alien attack. Earth had been busy preparing for war. New weapons were built, ships were upgraded, soldiers trained day and night. But most people thought the aliens might not come back. Perhaps one ship was all they would send. They were wrong. The early warning system detected them first. 20 large Krajan ships entered the solar system. They moved fast, heading straight for Mars. The red planet held Earth's largest colony with over 10,000 people. Colonel Samantha Ford received the alert in her office at Mars Defense, Base Alpha. She was a tall woman with short brown hair and 15 years of military experience, but nothing in those years had prepared her for fighting aliens. Sound the alarm, she ordered her second-in-command, Major Gary Peters. Get all civilians to the underground bunkers and call all soldiers to their stations. Sirens wailed across the Mars colony. People ran to safety. Parents grabbed their children. Workers left their jobs. Everyone knew what to do. They had practiced this drill many times since learning about the Krajan. Samantha stood in the command center looking at the large screen. It showed the alien ships approaching. They would reach Mars in less than 2 hours. Status report, she demanded. All defense systems ready, reported Lieutenant Will Scott. Orbital cannons charged, ground-to-space missiles loaded, shield generators at full power. Samantha nodded. And what about Project Surprise? Major Peters looked down at his tablet. Engineers say it's ready but untested. They're not sure it will work. It has to work, Samantha said firmly. It might be our only advantage. The Krajan ships entered Mars orbit exactly as predicted. They were massive vessels shaped like curved claws. Black and red, they looked designed to inspire fear. When the first alien troops landed, the Mars defenders got their first look at the Krajan. They were tall, about 8 feet in height. Their bodies were covered in natural armor, like scales but harder. They had 4 arms, each ending in sharp claws. Their faces had 6 eyes arranged in a circle pattern. They carried weapons that fired, beams of energy. They looked like walking nightmares, said Private Joe Turner as he watched from his hiding spot. Stay focused, Samantha replied through the radio. Remember your training. The initial attack went exactly as the Krajan planned. Their warriors landed near the main colony dome and began their assault. They expected the humans to run, to hide, to be easy prey. The Mars Defense Forces put up a fight with conventional weapons, guns, tanks, missiles. They caused some damage, killed some Krajan warriors, but the aliens pushed forward. Their natural armor protected them from many human weapons. Their strength let them tear through barriers. We can't stop them with direct force, Major Peters reported. They're too strong. Samantha smiled slightly. Then it's time for Project Surprise. She pressed a button on her command console. All units fall back to secondary positions. Lead them to the tunnels. The human forces began to retreat, moving deeper into the tunnel system that connected the Mars habitats. The Krajan followed, thinking they had won. But the tunnels were a trap. Chief Engineer Kevin Ryan waited at his station, watching the alien forces enter the tunnel network on his screen. He was young, only 30 years old, but brilliant. He had come up with the plan they were now using. They're in position, he reported to Samantha. All units in the tunnels have activated their personal shields. Do it, Samantha ordered. Kevin pressed a series of buttons. All around the tunnel system, specially designed machines activated. They began to vibrate the tunnel walls at a specific frequency. The effect on the Krajan was immediate and dramatic. The warriors fell to the ground, their 6 eyes wide with pain. They dropped their weapons. Some clawed at their heads. Dr. Nancy Chen had discovered this weakness after studying the data from the first encounter. Their hearing is much more sensitive than ours, she had explained. This sound frequency should be painful to them but harmless to humans. She was right. The human soldiers, protected by special earplugs, moved in. They captured the disabled Krajan warriors. Those aliens who hadn't entered the tunnels retreated to their ships when they lost contact with their ground forces. On the command ship above Mars, High Hunter Vex-Kar could not believe the reports. Impossible, the Krajan commander hissed to his officers. These are primitive prey. They have no natural defenses. How could they defeat our warriors? They use the environment against us, replied Battlemaster Grek. The tunnels were a trap. They somehow knew about our sensitive hearing. Vex-Kar paced the bridge of his ship. This had never happened before. In all their history, the Krajan had never failed in an initial planetary assault. Prey species were not supposed to fight back effectively. They were supposed to run and hide. We must report this to the Imperial Nest, Vex-Kar finally said. These humans are unusual. They don't behave like normal prey. Back on Mars, the humans celebrated their victory. It had been small, just one battle, but important. They had proven the Krajan could be beaten. Colonel Ford gathered her officers in the command center. Good work today, she told them. But this is just the beginning. They'll be back, and with a better plan next time. At least now we know they can bleed, Major Peters said. Dr. Chen entered the room with a tablet in her hand. I've been studying the captured Krajan, she said. I found something interesting. They don't just hunt for food. They do it because their brains are wired for it. They get a rush of pleasure chemicals when they successfully hunt. It's like an addiction for them. So they literally can't help themselves, Samantha said. They have to hunt. Yes, Nancy nodded. And they've never encountered a species that fights back so effectively. It confuses them. They don't know how to react. Kevin Ryan, who had been quiet until now, looked up. Then we need to be more than prey that fights back. We need to become the hunters. On Earth, the news of the Mars victory spread quickly. People celebrated in the streets. Humanity had faced its first real alien threat and survived. More than survived. They had won. Admiral Chris Rodriguez stood before the Global Defense Council. The Mars victory is important, but we can't get overconfident. The Krajan will adapt, they'll come back stronger. What do you suggest? Asked Secretary Martinez. We need to take the fight to them, Rodriguez said firmly. Our scouts have located their nearest base in the Alpha Centauri system. I propose we stop waiting for them to attack and start bringing the war to their territory. The council members looked at each other. Attack an alien base? It seemed both terrifying and exciting. Very well, Martinez finally said. Prepare your fleet, Admiral. Operation Counterhunt is approved. As the meeting ended, Rodriguez looked at the star map on the wall. Somewhere out there, the Krajan were planning their next move. But this time, humans wouldn't be waiting like scared prey. This time, they would be the ones setting the traps. The hunt was on. The galaxy's top predators weren't prepared for humans. The human ship, Nightshade, moved silently through space. It was painted black and had special technology that made it hard to detect on scanners. Commander Jack Nelson stood on the bridge, watching the stars through the main window. His mission was dangerous but important. Any sign of patrol ships? He asked his crew. Officer Amy Grant checked her screen. No, Commander. The path looks clear. Jack nodded. Good. Maintain course. To the meeting point. After the victory on Mars, humans had received a strange message. It came through an old radio frequency that Earth rarely used anymore. The message was simple. Not all species serve the hunters. Meet us at these coordinates if you seek allies. Many people thought it might be a trap. The Krajan trying to lure human ships into an ambush. But Earth needed allies, so they sent the Nightshade to investigate. We're approaching the coordinates, reported Navigator Paul Wilson, detecting a small ship ahead. Jack looked at the screen. The ship was unlike any they had seen before. It was round and seemed to glow slightly. Scan it, Jack ordered. One life form aboard, Amy said after a moment. Not Krajan. Something else. Jack made his decision. Open a communication channel. The screen lit up, showing the face of an alien. It was unlike anything humans had seen before. The being had blue skin that seemed almost see-through. It had 4 arms like the Krajan, but these were thin and delicate. Its eyes were large and purple. Greetings, humans, the alien said in perfect English. I am Elzira of the Viridian Accord. Jack was surprised. You speak our language? We have been monitoring your communications since your first encounter with the hunters. Elzira explained. We learned quickly. Why did you contact us? Jack asked. Because you did what no other species has done in 1,000 years, Elzira said. You fought the Krajan and won. The Viridian Accord wishes to meet with your leaders. 2 days later, the Nightshade returned to Earth with Elzira's ship following closely. Security was tight. No one fully trusted this new alien yet. But the possibility of allies was too important to ignore. In a secure room at Earth Space Command headquarters, Elzira met with Admiral Rodriguez and other human leaders. The Viridian Accord consists of 12 species that have survived Krajan attacks, Elzira explained. Some of us serve the Empire as slaves. Others hide in remote systems. We have been watching and waiting for a chance to fight back. And you think we're that chance? Admiral Rodriguez asked. Yes, Elzira said simply. The Krajan have ruled through fear and biological superiority. They are natural predators with strong bodies and sharp claws, but they have grown lazy. They haven't needed to develop new technology for centuries because no one could fight them effectively. Dr. Greg Wilson, Earth's leading expert on alien technology, leaned forward. Are you saying their technology isn't as advanced as it seems? Exactly, Elzira nodded. Their ships are powerful, but the designs were stolen from conquered races. The Krajan don't fully understand how to improve them. My people, the Viridians, were once great engineers before the hunters came. We built their current shield systems, but we kept some secrets to ourselves. Elzira touched a device on her wrist. A hologram appeared showing technical diagrams. These are designs for advanced shield technology, she said. We offer them to you in exchange for your help in liberating our homeworlds. The human leaders looked at each other. This was a big decision. Working with Elzira meant joining a larger conflict. It wasn't just about defending Earth anymore. We need time to discuss this, Admiral Rodriguez said. Elzira nodded. Of course, but don't take too long. The hunters are gathering their forces for a major attack on your system. They cannot allow your victory on Mars to stand. It threatens their position in the galaxy. After Elzira left, the humans debated what to do. It could be a trap, warned General Laura Martinez. We know nothing about these Viridians. But the technology they're offering could save millions of lives, Dr. Wilson argued. These shield designs are far beyond anything we have. Admiral Rodriguez paced the room. We can't defeat the Krajan alone, he finally said. We need allies. We need this technology. 2 weeks later, Commander Jack Nelson stood on the bridge of a new ship, the USS Defiance. It was the first human vessel equipped with Viridian shield technology. Beside him stood Elzira and 3 other aliens from the Viridian Accord. The shields are fully operational, reported Chief Engineer Olivia Lang. Power output is 300% higher than our previous systems, Jack smiled. Good. What about the new weapons? Ready as well, Olivia said. The Viridian targeting systems make them twice as accurate. The USS Defiance was heading to a special location. The Krajan had a small outpost on a moon in the Alpha Centauri system. It was used to monitor human activity. The plan was to destroy it before the Krajan could launch their next attack. Are you ready for this? Jack asked Elzira. The aliens' skin changed color slightly, turning a deeper blue. My people have waited 200 years for a chance to fight back. We are more than ready. The battle at the outpost was short but fierce. The Krajan were caught by surprise. They hadn't expected humans to attack them. They certainly hadn't expected humans to have Viridian shield technology. When it was over, Jack recorded a message and left it playing at the destroyed outpost. It was a simple message in the Krajan language. Humans are not prey. Back on Earth, the news of the alliance with the Viridian Accord spread quickly. People had mixed feelings. Some were happy to have allies. Others were worried about trusting aliens after what happened with the Krajan. In a research lab, Dr. Wilson worked closely with Viridian engineers. They showed him technologies humans had never imagined. Your species adapts quickly, one Viridian, named Tella, told him. It took my people decades to understand these concepts. You learn them in weeks. We've had to adapt quickly, Greg replied. It's how we've survived on Earth. Our planet has a wide range of environments and dangers. We've always had to change to survive. Perhaps that is why the hunters fear you, Tella said. They have never needed to adapt. They have always been the strongest. But strength without adaptation becomes weakness over time. Admiral Rodriguez looked at the star map in his office. With the help of the Viridian Accord, humans now had a better understanding of the galaxy. They knew where Krajan territories were. They knew about other species and planets. We're not alone in fighting them anymore, he said to his aide. And that changes everything. The aide nodded. Yes, sir. But the Krajans still outnumber us. They still have more ships. Numbers aren't everything, Rodriguez replied. History is full of smaller forces defeating larger ones through better strategy and technology. We just need to be smarter than them. Out in space, the first joint human Viridian fleet prepared for a larger mission. They weren't just going to defend Earth now. They were taking the fight to Krajan territory. The predators were about to become the prey. The galaxy's top predators weren't prepared for humans. Captain Frank Rivera stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance. It was the largest and most advanced ship in the human fleet. 3 months had passed since the alliance with the Viridian Accord began. In that time, humanity had learned much about space warfare. All ships report ready, Captain, said Lieutenant Sophia Lee from her station. Frank nodded. Good. Remind all captains of the mission objectives. We're not here for a direct battle. We target their supply lines only. The human fleet consisted of 12 ships. They were deep in Krajin space, far from Earth. Their mission was not to attack Krajin military bases, but to destroy their supply ships and fuel depots. This is not how the Krajin fight, Elzira had explained during the mission planning. They expect direct confrontation. They consider attacks on supplies to be cowardly. This will confuse them. Frank checked the time. Begin the operation. The human ships spread out across the sector. They moved quickly, striking Krajin supply ships and small outposts before disappearing again. The Viridian technology allowed them to hide their energy signatures, making them hard to track. On the third day of the operation, they hit the main fuel depot for the entire sector. The explosion was visible from 3 systems away. Target destroyed, reported Weapons Officer Roy Davis. Krajin ships in the area are responding, but they're too late. Frank allowed himself a small smile. Set course for the next target. But, as they prepared to jump to faster than light speed, a warning alarm sounded. Captain, 6 Krajin battlecruisers just entered the system, Sophia reported. They're blocking our exit path. Frank studied the tactical display. The Krajin ships were massive, designed for direct combat. The human fleet was built for speed and stealth, not head-on battles. They're hailing us, said Communications Officer Grace Wong. Put them through, Frank ordered. The screen showed a Krajin war leader. Its scaly face was contorted, and what humans had learned was anger. Human prey, the Krajin growled. You attack like cowards, striking our supplies instead of facing us directly. Now you will die like cowards. Frank remained calm. We're not prey and we're not cowards. We're simply fighting intelligently, something you might want to try. He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. Battle stations, execute Maneuver Delta. Maneuver Delta was a new tactic developed by human strategists. Instead of facing the Krajin ships head-on, the human fleet split into pairs. Each pair attacked from a different angle, focusing fire on the engines and weapon systems of the Krajin ships. The Krajin responded as expected. They tried to engage in direct combat, turning to face each attacking pair. But this left them exposed to attacks from other directions. Their shields are down to 30% on the lead ship, reported Roy. Focus all fire on that one, Frank ordered. The battle lasted 2 hours. By the end, 3 Krajin ships were destroyed. 2 more were heavily damaged. The human fleet lost 1 ship and had 3 others damaged, but they had won. As they finally jumped to safety, Frank sent a message to Earth. Operation Disrupt successful. Krajin supply lines in Sector 7 crippled, returning to base. Meanwhile, on the distant planet called New Eden, a different kind of battle was being prepared. New Eden was a human colony world that had been attacked by the Krajin 6 weeks earlier. The colonists had been forced to retreat to the mountains, but they hadn't given up. Major Diane Clark led a special combat unit trained specifically to fight Krajin warriors on the ground. They had been studying Krajin biology and behavior for months. Remember what we learned, she told her team of 40 soldiers as they prepared for a night mission. The Krajin evolved as daylight hunters. Their night vision is poor. They rely on heat signatures and smell when it's dark. Her second-in-command, Captain Steve Gordon, handed out special equipment. These masks will hide your body heat. The spray will mask your scent. Move slowly and carefully. The team moved through the forest as night fell. Their mission was to attack the main Krajin camp where over 200 warriors were based. It seemed impossible, 40 humans against 200 Krajin. But they had a plan. They reached the edge of the camp just after midnight. The Krajin had set up large lights around their base, but these actually worked against them. The bright lights made the darkness beyond their camp seem even darker. Plant the sonic devices as planned, Diane ordered quietly. Set them to activate in 30 minutes. The soldiers moved around the camp, placing small devices in the trees and ground. Then they retreated to a safe distance and put in special earplugs. When the devices activated, They emitted a high-frequency sound that humans couldn't hear. But to the Krajan it was painful. Warriors ran from their shelters, clutching their heads in agony. "Now," Diane commanded. Her team attacked from all sides. They used special weapons designed to penetrate Krajan natural armor. They moved quickly, taking advantage of the confusion. Within an hour, the battle was over. The Krajan force was defeated, not by superior numbers or strength, but by human ingenuity and understanding of their enemies' weaknesses. News of the victory on New Eden spread quickly. It was the most decisive ground victory humans had achieved so far. 200 Krajan warriors defeated by just 40 humans. On the Krajan homeworld, in a massive palace made of black stone, Emperor Tyrak the Unyielding received the reports of these defeats. "Impossible," he growled, his 6 eyes blinking, in sequence. "How can prey defeat hunters?" War Master Krell, his top military leader, bowed low. "These humans do not fight like prey, Emperor. They adapt. They study our weaknesses. They use tactics we have never encountered." Tyrak smashed his clawed fist against his throne. "No species has ever resisted us this effectively. I want more. Ships sent to their system. I want their planets destroyed. I want this human problem ended." "It will be done, Emperor," Krell promised. But as he left the throne room, doubt filled his mind. For the first time in his long life, he wondered if the Krajan had finally met a species they could not simply hunt down and conquer. Back on Earth, in the main strategy room of the Global Defense Command, Admiral Rodriguez reviewed the reports from both Captain Rivera and Major Clark. "The plan is working," he told his officers. "The Krajan don't know how to respond to our tactics. They expect direct confrontation because that's how they've always fought. But they'll adapt eventually," General Martinez warned. "We need to keep changing our approach." Rodriguez nodded. "Agreed. And we need to push harder now, while we have the advantage. It's time for Phase 2. Phase 2 was more ambitious, not just disrupting supply lines or winning small battles, but striking at major Krajan worlds, taking the fight directly to the heart of their empire. The galaxy's top predators were learning a hard lesson. Humans were the most dangerous prey they had ever hunted. The galaxy's top predators weren't prepared for humans. 3 years had passed since the first Krajan attack on the USS Intrepid. Much had changed in that time. Humans were no longer just defending their own system. They had taken the fight to Krajan space and won many battles. The Viridian Accord had grown stronger, with more species joining the alliance against the hunters. The space station called Harmony floated in neutral territory between human and Krajan space. It was newly built for a special purpose. Today, representatives from 27 different species were gathering there for the first Galactic Concordat, a meeting that might end the war. Ambassador Olivia Peters led the human delegation. She was tall with dark skin and gray hair. She had been a diplomat for 30 years before the war began. Now she faced her greatest challenge. "Are you ready?" asked her aide, Dan Harris, as they prepared to enter the main conference room. Olivia straightened her blue formal suit. "As ready as I can be. Is the special data package prepared?" Dan nodded. "Yes, Ambassador. It can be displayed at your command." The conference room was large and circular. Each species had its own section with chairs designed for their specific body types. The Krajan delegation sat opposite the humans. They were led by War Master Krell, a scarred veteran of many battles. The neutral mediator, a being made of what looked like glowing gas, called the meeting to order. "We gather today to end 3 years of war," the mediator said. "Each side will present their terms for peace." War Master Krell stood first. His large frame towered over the table. "The terms of the Krajan Empire are simple. The humans will surrender their military vessels and technology. They will pay tribute to the Empire in resources. In return, we will allow them to live." Murmurs spread around the room. These were not peace terms. They were demands for surrender. Olivia stood next. "The human delegation rejects these terms completely. We are not here to surrender but to establish a new relationship between our species and all others in the galaxy. Krell made a harsh sound that humans had learned was Krajin laughter. You are not in a position to reject our terms, prey. We are not prey, Olivia said calmly. The past 3 years have proven that, and we are in a stronger position than you realize. She activated a display in the center of the room. It showed a star map of Krajin territory. Specific points were marked in red. These are the locations of every Krajin breeding world, Olivia explained. The places where your young are raised. Our fleet has the coordinates of all 12 worlds. The Krajin delegation reacted with shock. This information was their most closely guarded secret. No prey species had ever discovered these locations before. How did you get this information? Krell demanded. We have our methods, Olivia replied. The important thing is that we could have targeted these worlds at any time during the past year. We chose not to. We don't believe in targeting civilians, even Krajin civilians. She let that sink in before continuing. Humanity doesn't seek to exterminate the Krajin. We believe the galaxy is big enough for all of us. But we will not be hunted. We will not be treated as prey. The room was silent as Olivia presented the human terms. We propose a new galactic order, she said. One based on cooperation rather than predation. Each species would be valued for their unique abilities, rather than their position on the food chain. The Krajin and other predator species would keep their current territories, but would be forbidden from conquering new worlds. Krell's 6 eyes narrowed. Why should we accept terms from prey? The hunting of lesser species is our right by nature. Olivia looked directly at him. Because we've proven we're not prey. We're something your evolution didn't prepare you for. Competitors who can outthink you rather than just fight you. She gestured to the star map still displaying the breeding world locations. We could have targeted these worlds. We chose not to. Don't mistake mercy for weakness, War Master Krell. The negotiations lasted 5 more days. The Krajin fought against every term, trying to maintain their position as the dominant species in the sector. But other species, emboldened by human success, supported the new arrangement. On the final day, the Galactic Concordat was signed. The Krajin Empire would maintain its current borders but cease all expansion. The formerly enslaved species gained independence and protection under the Concordat. Trade routes would be established between willing worlds. As the delegates prepared to leave, War Master Krell approached Olivia. This peace will not last, he growled. The hunt is in our nature. We cannot change what we are. Olivia met his gaze without fear. No one is asking you to stop being predators, War Master. We're just saying you need to find more constructive ways to express that nature. Perhaps your people could become explorers of unknown regions. There are still vast areas of the galaxy no one has mapped. Krell seemed surprised by the suggestion. Hunting new territories instead of new prey? Exactly, Olivia nodded. Channel your predatory instincts into something that doesn't harm others. Back on Earth, Admiral Rodriguez watched the signing ceremony on a large screen in his office. He was older now, with more gray in his hair and new scars from battles he had led. Dr. Alan Weiss sat with him. The xenobiologist had been right there at the beginning, when the first Krajin ship attacked the Intrepid. Did you ever think we'd end up here? Rodriguez asked. When that first ship attacked us? Dr. Weiss shook his head. Never. I thought we were facing extinction. I didn't think we could stand against a species that had conquered so many others. So what made the difference? Why did we succeed where other species failed? Dr. Weiss thought for a moment before answering. The Krajin made one critical error. They assumed that lacking claws and fangs made us prey. They didn't realize that human ingenuity is the most dangerous evolutionary adaptation in the galaxy. Will this peace last? Rodriguez wondered. I don't know, Weiss admitted. But even if the Krajin try to break it someday, they'll never again make the mistake of underestimating humans. On the Krajin homeworld, Emperor Tyrak signed the final approval of the Concordat. It was the first time in their recorded history that the Empire had signed a peace treaty as equals rather than conquerors. Is this the end of our greatness? One of his advisors asked. No, Tyrak replied. It is the beginning of a different kind of greatness. We have always defined ourselves by what we could hunt and kill. Perhaps now we will learn to define ourselves by what we can build and discover. As news of the Concordat spread throughout the galaxy, many species celebrated their new freedom. The cosmic food chain had been forever changed. The old order of predator and prey was replaced by a new understanding of cooperation and mutual respect. Humanity took its place in the galactic community not as conquerors, but as the species that had changed the rules of the game. They had shown that intelligence, adaptability, and moral courage could overcome even the most fearsome natural weapons. The galaxy's top predators had indeed not been prepared for humans, and the stars would never be the same again.